was everyone's Memorial Day weekend? Good? Well, if you're finding yourself needing a little bit of extra caffeine to get back to your daily routine today, after that long weekend, you might have to get to your favorite Starbucks early or just choose another coffee shop. We'll explain why. Joining me now, some wonderful ladies to discuss that and other topics making headlines. NBC's Stephanie Gosk is here, along with Jenna Hager, and the co-host of PBS's In Principle, Amy Holmes, is with us as well. Great to have you all here. So before we get to the latest on Starbucks, can we just talk about George H.W. Bush, who was hospitalized this weekend?
Yes.
How's he doing, Jenna?
He's doing okay. Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
And Megyn, you've been so sweet writing letters, and really everybody has. I just can't even.
We love him. He's a national treasure.
How kind people have been during this time where everybody goes through it. Grandparents get older, and it's hard because we love them so much, but also my girls have gotten to be with him.
Yep.
So
incredible.
It's pretty incredible, and I know all of y'all feel that way about your grandparents.
100%, yeah. I can relate, honestly, that my Nana lived to be 101, and she died last October of 16, and I still think about her every day,
Yeah, it's
every
hard.
day. Yeah, but her imprint was firmly made
No
on
one
me.
loves you like your grandparents love you.
Yeah.
It's a really unique bond.
I know, Steph, and you just lost your
So my
grandpa,
sister
too.
was up with him this weekend, and she read to him every day, and they had a wonderful weekend. They ate oysters, and he drank a martini. So he
life is good.
just fine.
Well, we appreciate your family's service to our country.
100%.
Thanks.
Aw. Thank you. Okay, and now I want to ask you about Starbucks, because all of us are coffee drinkers here. You have to be if you're going to work this shift. And have you heard about Starbucks, what it's doing? You know, there was this dust-up not long ago that 2 African-American men came into a Starbucks in Philadelphia. And you're supposed to buy something there if you want to sit in the Starbucks or use the restroom. And they didn't. And the woman, the barista, thought that this crime was worthy of calling the police.
Yeah, no.
So she calls the police. The guys get arrested. All right, now they didn't buy anything, but was it really cause for calling the cops? Turned into a national incident. The CEO of Starbucks is closing down Starbucks across the nation today early so they can have race bias training, like unconscious bias training for all the employees. And now they're changing the company policy to allow anybody to stay and use the bathroom, even if they don't buy anything, which has a lot of Starbucks customers saying, really? Like, why? Because now the Starbucks are going to get overwhelmed with people, and is it really just a public space, or is it not? What do you think?
Well, you can just buy a coffee if you want to use the Wi-Fi. When I was reading about this, it's one day of an afternoon of training to try to change perceptions and behavior. If it was that easy, we'd all cut down on our pasta.
Yeah, right.
Men would, put the lid down.
Yes. Pick up their dirty underwear. and put it in their-
Exactly.
You just wish it were so, and it would be so.
Yeah.
What I think is really important here is it's not so much the afternoon of training, it's Starbucks making a statement about how they want to treat their customers moving forward.
I think that's very true. And also, the CEO for Starbucks, this is going to be taught in business schools all around the country, how he handled this, immediately came out and acknowledged this was wrong, flew out to Philadelphia, presumably from Seattle, met with these young men, and has enacted new policy as a result of it. No, you can't cure racism at Starbucks or anywhere else in an afternoon, but you can start the conversation, and he's really done that.
And so that's not controversial to do the anti-bias training. That's a good idea.
But the
Meeting
fact
with the
that
guys,
he did it so
apologizing.
fast.
That's all good. But the part of this that's getting, lambasted is now you don't have to buy anything to go into the Starbucks. You don't have to buy anything to use the restroom. And so paying customers are now
and here's the issue.
complaining
is that Starbucks may become a magnet for people who want to exploit and take advantage of this new policy. But when I read it, managers are still going to have to use discretion.
Yeah.
Is Starbucks Steve there, who's every day for 12 hours going to get kicked out?
That's already annoying.
Right?
But I also think, I see the other side of it. I mean, I think some of these people don't have places to go. I've seen people sit in our local Starbucks here in New York City that are homeless, that don't have another place.
But that's not the solution, Jenna. It's a whole
But there are
of course
places for the
it's not.
homeless.
Of course it's not a solution, but it's also compassionate. It's also showing kindness to people that may not have that. And so I think they'll see. I'm sure policies will change. I'm sure they'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't go well, I'm sure he'll change there. But I see both sides of it. I also think reaching out to people that don't have a place to go is not such a bad thing in this environment.
I feel like there are places, like in New York City, they're pretty good about, providing churches for the homeless to go and get meals and so on. And there's a question about whether a commercial establishment
is that place.
Yeah, is that place for the paying customers who go in with their kids, and do you really want to, deal with a mass of homeless people or whoever's in there, could be drug addicted, you don't know. When you're there with your kids, just paying for the services of the place. I have to say this too. Apparently, one of the people they're using to instruct on the bias is Common, the rapper Common.
Yes.
This is a guy, just for the record, he's been accused of homophobic lyrics, talking about gays shouldn't come near me, referred to women as hoes, bitches, and sluts. Talk about he's a pimp and women should be part of his stable in his lyrics. And
perhaps not the right messenger.
I'm just saying, like if we're going to hold up somebody as an example to teach on bias, maybe we should be sensitive to that person's entire record.
And it gives the impression that it's not really necessarily about changing attitudes, but virtue signaling. So Starbucks is cool because they're using this rapper to do an afternoon of sensitivity training, which we all know takes a lot more than an afternoon, and certainly is not going to be learned from a rapper.
And what about the female customers? Because I have to say, I don't know that this is the best person to instruct on bias from what I read in this man's lyrics, and that's why he was a controversial choice a couple of years ago when Michelle Obama invited him to speak at the White House, and so there's been a long history that's been well documented, as Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, should know. He did issue a statement earlier, Schultz did, saying we're going to make the right decision 100% of the time and give people the key, because we don't want anyone at Starbucks to feel as if we're not giving access to the bathroom to you because you are less than. We want you to be more than. If he winds up getting it right 100% of the time, he'll be the first CEO in history to do so. Okay. Speaking of the White House and your family's time there, imagine if you had teachers writing back letters to the president, grammatically correcting each and every letter that he or his staffers sent out.
Well, my grandmother did that to my dad once a week. So I don't even have to imagine it. I come from a long line of English teachers. I was an English teacher. My mother was a librarian. My grandmother, as people probably remember, was passionate about literacy. And constantly, as a little girl, I would walk in and say something grammatically incorrect, and she would reprimand me right away.
Yes.
And so now, guess what I do to my daughters?
Same.
Do you do, it's the same
Yes.
thing?
And that's our responsibility as parents, right? So there's this retired English teacher she taught AP English, who decided when she got a letter back from the White House with all sorts of words capitalized that are not normally capitalized, like nation and federal, and even president, which you're not supposed to capitalize unless it appears right before Trump. Right? You don't say, like, our president, you don't capitalize that. But this did from the White House.
I
Well, it
learned my
depends.
grammar from Schoolhouse Rock.
Right,
She
of course.
said to me, she goes, I'm going to lean on you for this. And I'm like, you can. I'm an English teacher.
Right, I will be no safety net to you. So she wrote back, and now she's getting ripped online by some people. Other people thought it was awesome. Somebody said she was just a sad lady with cats.
Listen, I'm
that was
also
common.
a lady with
No,
cats.
it wasn't common.
What's wrong with cats? And you know that my mother named her cat Dewey after the Dewey Decimal System. We are proud nerds with cats.
I have to say, I am so glad that this woman is not looking at my scripts at NBC News, because I'd be in a lot of trouble. But I also think this is an example of not seeing the forest through the trees with this administration. We spend so much time going after a full spectrum of criticisms when it comes to the Trump White House. This is a question about teenagers being gunned down in schools. That's what this letter was about. And we are talking about whether or not to capitalize the word federal in a letter. It is not about that. We are missing the larger point. And this went viral, and everyone went insane, because everyone goes insane all the time with this White House. But let's get to the real issues and take all of that energy and pour it into the stuff that matters.
She did a good job of making her letter go viral.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but I also was really impressed that if we had more English teachers who were correcting our students' grammar, how much better off would
And
we
I
all
think
be?
they, by the way, they
This
are.
would be
There's
great.
some awesome teachers out there.
Yeah.
There
who
are.
doing that.
I got intimidated when she used the term dangling modifier. I was like, I'm out. Okay, can I tell you, I have to end this on a happy note. We started on a somber one, and we have to end on a happy one. Something wonderful happened this Memorial Day. Somebody who is near and dear to my own heart. She's like a little sister to me. She's like family to me. Her name is Abigail Finan. She's my assistant, and like a blood relative to me, had a baby.
Yay!
She had her baby. Look, that's little Lillian Emerson Finan was born after a long, long 24 hours for Mom. And that's Aubrey, the big sister, on the right. And Dad Kevin was there as well. It's completely happy and joyful. Look at that picture. Look how beautiful that is.
Sweet. Sweet.
Look at the little baby Lillian's neck there. You just want to kiss her. Everyone's fine and doing well. And for me, it was just a reminder of what matters and appreciating the relationships in your life. You know, this is somebody who is with me every day. I'm going to miss her desperately these next few months. But we as employers need to make sure that new moms get all the time they need.
Yes.
So bonding
Yes.
and caretaking and well-being can take place. And Abby knows that I want her to know and their family to know that I love them so much and I appreciate them. And while I'll be crying in my soup while you're gone, take all the time you need. And I hope every boss out there feels the same because it's too important. So all the best to them. Guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megyn.
Much love to you. We'll be right back.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.